Well, thanks for the oh, recording in progress. Thanks for the intro, Mir. I'm really excited to be here. And so kind of the shorts version of how I got here is when I was with my previous company, I was at Census in Dresen and Sequoia back company, had a talent there. Amir and I got connected and he had actually invited me to join Syelo. And it didn't work out because of timing. I was making a transition to join HireFly. But I've been a head of talent or head of people at now three different startups. And prior to that, I had like the big company logos. I was at Tesla for 4.5 years and Apple before that. So, and then went into startup world, mostly seed through B startups. I'm actually going to introduce, and then I think he's going to drop our CEO, Rohan. He's going to give a very quick couple of minute background on HireFly, and then he's going to kick it back to me to run you through our products today.
Thanks, Tim. Thanks, Amir, for the invite. Nice to meet everyone. My name is Rohan, co-founder and CEO here at HireFly. Just some context on what we're up to. We're building an AI platform to automate the candidate sourcing process, both outbound and inbound. And as for why we started the company, my co-founder Samit and I, we've known each other for many years. We went to high school together. We were observant of two very interesting trends. I think one was the proliferation of AI technologies. Words. We like to say we were a little bit ahead of the time. We founded the company in 2021. And the second trend is what we were seeing with SaaS products, where there was a desire to have best in class user experiences for each use case that a company has. So point products as opposed to one gigantic monolithic platform. And so we put these two trends together and talked to a lot of customers like yourselves, hiring managers, recruiters, recruiting agencies. And the pain was very, very palpable that status quo is broken. LinkedIn is largely a database. It doesn't really personalize to your jobs, your tastes, who you've hired in the past. There's no feedback loop, and there's still a lot of manual work. And we believe fundamentally that humans should be up leveled, regardless of function, especially in recruiting, given the kind of work that you guys could be doing and where you spend your time today. There's opportunity for AI to level you up, and that's why we started the company. So we've been around a few years now. We founded in 2021. We serve a variety of customers, ranging from seed stage startups all the way up to Fortune 500 organizations. I think for you guys, it's an interesting time, given the macroeconomic conditions. You have been tasked with doing more with less, and we have all these interesting technologies coming out. So from my perspective, it seems like a great opportunity to take some time to at least evaluate, if AI can make sense for your organization, and use this opportunity where you maybe have a little bit of downtime with regards to your job volumes. It's not as crazy as it was. Use as an opportunity to experiment and prove out ROI for yourself. So I'll hand over back to you, Tim.
Awesome. Thanks, Rohan. And I guess just to set some ground rules for today for Syelo Tank, I am not our salesperson. I am on the customer success side. As I'll tell a very quick story of how I got here, but I'm not like an expert presenter. I'm not an expert demoer. I'm here because I am an ex-head of talent, and I wanted to like chat and interact with my community. So this is not just meant to be a straight presentation where we run and do all the questions at the end. If you have something burning that you want to get asked right while I'm in the product or in the presentation, feel free to unmute yourself, interrupt me, drop it into the chat, and I'll try to address it as quick as possible. But this is meant to be interactive. It's meant to be engaging for you guys. And ultimately, I want you guys to get something out of it that's valuable for you. The 2-minute story of how I got to HireFly is I was actually a customer of HireFly at Census. So we had a serious issue in Q4 of 2022 where we had to get something like 20 senior software engineers hired in that quarter. My recruiter actually came to me with HireFly and proposed it as a solution. I said, great, let's try it out. Did a demo in that 2 weeks because we were having a top of funnel problem getting qualified senior software engineers on the Ruby on Rails stack. And in a 2-week trial, HireFly delivered something like 12 warm candidates that were ready to interview. And so we, passed a high percentage of those through. And within the next 4 weeks, we had 2 of those candidates actually make it to offer. So I am like the living testimonial of it worked. I was ready for a transition away from census. I reached out to Rohan and I absolutely wanted to be a part of what HireFly was doing, only knowing about one of the products at the time. So that's how I'm here and that's why I'm talking to all of you. So I'm not our salesperson. Our salesperson's actually here. You'll see him in the video. He's Kyle. But I told him he wasn't allowed to talk because this is the talent to talent and people conversation, not a sales to talent and people conversation. So to get started, just to get the interaction, I don't know if you guys can, or to get people's dust off their fingers, if you can just put in the chat if you're going to transform next month. We're going to be there, and so I'm just curious who else is going, if anyone in this group is going. But yeah, so the three of us will be there. But would love to hear if anybody else is going. Amir's going to be there. Amir, you live there. Does that count?
No, but it does in my book. At least that's what I tell my spouse. I'll be at the conference, not at the strip.
We'll meet up. Anyone else going?
I'm considering now.
Yeah, should be fun. If anyone makes it there, we're more than happy to meet up. We'll buy you a drink, spot you on a blackjack table, take you to dinner. But yeah, let us know.
Okay, I'm going.
All right, Mike, we'll see you there. So what we're here to talk about today is our three products. The first one that sold me as a customer is Autopilot, and that's the what we're going to take you through in this order. So Autopilot is basically AI sourcers that will back you. That will back your team, make them more efficient. It's not meant to replace anyone, just meant to add to your team's efficiency and output. The next is Navigator. What we don't put here, we have it said it's for sensitive roles, but this is for the roles where you absolutely have to source, where you're not getting a ton of inbound. It's a a specific skill set that you got from a hiring manager, from the point of contact, and you want to be hands-on sourcing and sequencing. But we do candidate search and sequencing all in one tool. So you can think about it as like LinkedIn Recruiter smashed together with Gem. Is probably how I think about it and rationalize it most days. And the last one is our newest product. It's HireFly Fast Track. And Fast Track is a way for you to quickly get through your probably floods of inbound every time you post a new role. I saw a post on LinkedIn recently that someone posted a job, 4 days, 1,000 applicants. We were seeing something like, 200 applicants per day in total when I was at Census on only like 8 roles posted. And so even as those roles continue to age out, those applicants continue to come through, and that's what Fast Track is here to help with. So jumping into kind of our marquee product, Autopilot. It's really simple. So how it works, you give us 3 ideal candidates in a job description. We send you, or we send the hiring manager, whoever the approver is, the recruiter, the hiring manager, the founder of the seed stage company, about five on average, ready to interview candidates per week. So we've done the outbound, we've done the introduction to the company, we've presented the role, and all the point of contact that the customer, hiring manager, recruiter, whoever has to do is say, yes, I want to interview them, introduce me, or no, they're not quite right. Here's the reasons why. And basically our machine learning search model takes every single input that you put in, either exception or rejection, learns from that, and then will help calibrate the search and further outreach from there. What's really nice about Autopilot is that the hiring company is never on the hook for A, those outbounds, or B, the disinterested candidates. You're not having to do the rejections and say, oh, my sourcer found, these 100 people, 50 of them are interested, but we're only going to talk to 20. That's okay. If it's an AI sourcer through HireFly, when you reject them, we take care of the dispositioning for you. So there's no potential threat to the company brand or interviews for people that aren't necessarily a match because you already committed and sent a scheduling link in your outreach message. So I'm going to show you how it works live. I think that there's nothing better than actually showing you and getting out of the slide deck. So this is it. This is Autopilot. This is what you see as a hiring manager, recruiter, whoever the approver of candidates is. You'll see in an interested tab every day, and you actually get email notifications when new ones show up. But we actually see most users going in like once or twice a week and doing their reviews in batches. So you'll see, you can take a look at the candidate's profile, you can pop out to their LinkedIn, and you can say, yes, this is someone I want to schedule for an interview, or no, I'm going to reject them. And when you reject, we ask for the reason why. And that's to help the machine learning model learn. and to further calibrate that search. Like I said, with every single candidate you reject or approve, we learn from that. If you don't like the company, that's okay. You can just say, not great. We're going to submit that. Bam. And then you're on to the next one. You can also swipe through them and you can see all the candidates that are presented. So you don't have to make a decision just on one candidate at a time. I see Randy asked a question here. Will this AI work for clinical roles, nurses, practitioners, and physicians? Yes, it will, but we probably anticipate a lower response rate, and just because those folks probably aren't living in their email, aren't living, in the talent marketplace. But it will work. We've done many successful customers on that. Yeah. Lindsay's asking, how large is our talent pool? We have access to all 700 or 800 million candidates that LinkedIn has, plus a few more because we ingest other data sources on top of that. So you're not having a smaller candidate pool by using Autopilot than what you would get from having a sourcer or recruiter do hunting on LinkedIn Recruiter. All right, and that last one's from Rohan. Cool. Perfect. So you can also see the messaging. So you'll see everything, all the outbound messaging and the back and forth. So the candidates will actually interface with our AI sourcer. They will answer questions, get them primed, get them interested. And once they commit to an interview with you and your company, that's when you see them show up here and they're ready for your approval. But that's it. That's all you have to do for Autopilot. It's very, very simple. It's like a true white glove service. And it is really like having an AI sourcer added to your team. We've seen it deployed, we've seen the AI sourcers, we haven't named them yet, but we've seen the AI sourcers deployed directly for founders. And so a founder will be in here approving because they don't have a full talent team yet. Or we've seen talent leaders, recruiters, talent managers enhance their team's productivity by adding AI sourcers on top of it. Maybe your recruiters are just totally tapped and they don't have an extra 2 hours a day to do outbounding because it's probably the lowest return on time invested activity that recruiters have to do. That's where an AI sourcer can empower them to actually increase that sourced channel. So it's really just a tool in their toolbox. Perfect. Any other question? Oh, I see we got one.
Yeah.
I'd say we had one in from Anna. LinkedIn is our largest data source. What are the others? Well, we can't give you a full peek under the hood, but just know that we have like LinkedIn plus a few others that we've aggregated from online to create an entire candidate profile here for you in Autopilot. But we can't go fully lifting up the curtain to backstage right there.
No, I totally understand that, but I mean, like, so is this just basically like data scraping the web? Like, is there a GitHub? Is there whatever, like for software engineers and stuff like that, for example, like what were places that typical sources would go to, right? So like, what is this pulling from?
Yeah, all of those sources. Yeah. So we'll do, the LinkedIn type sources, GitHub, and then we'll also be interfacing with candidates. We have a role running right now for a senior product designer. And the problem that the hiring manager was having is that they can't get candidate portfolios. And so we're actually have the AI sourcer interacting with candidates to get their portfolios before the hiring manager reviews them. So it's everything that we have kind of in the data set, and then anything else that is outlined as hiring requirements specifically for that role.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tim, out of curiosity, would it be safe to say that the service and the offering that you just identified, right, where you have the AI tool engaging with the candidate, and you, the company, the brand that's employing HireFly is not associated until you make that formal introduction. Would it be safe to say that essentially there's like an agency model attached to HireFly that in many ways y'all are running an AI agency, if that's fair?
Yeah, that's totally fair. That's the way a lot of our customers look at us. And that's the way a lot of customers will kind of have the rationale to go with Autopilot from HireFly rather than with an agency, because we're going to be cheaper than an in-house sourcer and 2 to 3 times more effective from not only from the outbounds, but from introduced warm candidates every week. And also like significantly cheaper than agency. Like 3 agency hires would more than pay for like a full team of AI sourcers. So that's the way a lot of our customers look at us. And that's actually how, from the AI sourcing, the outbound emails that candidates are getting, that's how they look at us as well. And so that's why there's, no risk to your domains for doing the outbound email sends. There's no risk to your brand from doing, doing the outbounds and then maybe not committing to interviews, because it's all on us, HireFly, the agency at that point.
Got it. So the candidate then is fully aware that they are engaging with an AI bot, for lack of a better term, until, of course, you make the introduction.
They're not. They're actually aware. They think that they are talking to HireFly's, as an agency, #1 and most effective recruiter, Rohan. So you'll actually see that all of the emails come directly from Rohan. And so they're actually look like they're talking to the CEO of HireFly, the agency, Rohan, rather than, Sally, the AI bot. And we wanted to not completely strip away the personal touch of what looks like a real person reaching out to them.
When they pop back with questions that it would take a person to answer, how does the AI bot handle those?
It's a good question. So they actually, those get flagged to me and my team. We review that and we'll actually inject an answer for the AI bot, because if it's too complex, we don't want it coming across as like when you put in a query to ChatGPT and it comes back with a completely wrong answer. We don't want that to happen, because we do care about candidate experience. And so that's where we get a flag, we get a ping on our side, and me or my team steps in, answer those questions, see, and then we'll kick it back over to AI for the positioning and introduction.
Cool, thanks.
Yeah, so there is a human in the loop. We monitor it because we want to make sure that, we're still maintaining that candidate experience, because we care about these people that are, potentially interested in joining your company. So, yeah. Awesome. So we got 2 more products to get through, but y'all are probably wondering pricing. I mentioned, 2 to 3 times as effective as a sourcer and less cost, and, less than 3 agency placements. So what we've put together, oops, there we go. What we put together, not a keen presenter here. What we've put together is you pay per AI sourcer. Each AI sourcer can manage 5 active roles at a time, and you can rotate those open roles. We have a lot of companies who will throw a role up in one of their job slots or active roles for 3 weeks, run that, and then swap it out to another one. So active roles doesn't necessarily have to match the number of open jobs that your company has, just the number of open jobs that you need to source for and fill top of funnel. And what I'll say is, like, you can book a demo with us and you can chat with Kyle, or you can chat with me one-on-one, and we can walk you through kind of the data and like how we have computed that our sourcers are 2 to 3 times more effective and efficient than human sourcers. And like, because I'm such a firm believer in autopilot, is because it's how I got introduced to HireFly. Like, we're offering, basically, because we know it works. We're offering a 90-day performance-based opt-out. So if you wanted to sign up for an AI sourcer and we agree on performance metrics and we don't meet them, HireFly doesn't meet them, cool, wipe your hands, we're done. Because we don't want you to be locked into something that doesn't work. I know like how important and how strict budget is right now, especially after the last year and a half. And so if the monthly cost, the sticker shock for you, let's chat. But we do want to make sure that we have a performance-based opt-out in place for you. And that's, for me, that's a silo specific. We don't do this normally. We wanted to make sure that y'all were being taken care of and you're not giving up budget for something that isn't working for you. And like the last thing I'll say is we do have a qualified startup program. And so if, you want to chat with Kyle about that, like the criteria for that, because, cost is a factor for you, but they think this is the right solution, let's chat. Because we wanted to throw in like this qualified startup program, which again is silo specific for any companies that are maybe early stages and going into that growth and scaling mode. Any questions? Nope. That's a great question, Will. So Will asked, does HireFly integrate with any ATS products? Yes, we integrate with something like 35 or 40 different ATSs, all of the big ones. At least on like the in-house talent team side, we integrate with all the big ones. Some for agencies, we don't integrate with like the bullhorns of the world, but well, Lever, Greenhouse, Ashby, and there's a big long list of others. We can get that sent out as well. But yeah, that we do integrate with ATSs. So with Autopilot, the way the ATS integration works is that if you have candidates loaded into your ATS, we won't reach out to them. because we don't want to double contact folks that have recently interviewed and maybe you didn't hire them. So we don't want to reach out and say, hey, we have an amazing opportunity for you at this company. And then they reply and say, well, you're an idiot because I just got declined by them. So we make sure that there's no double contacting. And we also then, when you approve candidates, they're pushed directly into your ATS. So there's no work for you there either. You approve, the candidate shows up, and then you can schedule for an interview.
Hey,
And
thanks.
that's the same case for all of our products. We have the ATS integration set up. Cool. I showed you the front end, basically your experience with it. And like, I really do want to show how easy it is to set up a role before I move on to Navigator. But it's a 4-page form. You fill out your name, your company, give us your ideal candidates, why you like them. So our machine learning model can ingest that. You say who's going to be doing the interviews, and give us a little bit of additional information if you have target companies or folks that you have really good success recruiting candidates from, and then we're off to the races. That's all that's required from you. It's just those 4 pages. Okay. Next up, we're on to Navigator. So hands-on sourcing, right? And so, like I said, this is candidate search and sequencing. So it's like your LinkedIn recruiter plus Gem. How it works: give us your hiring preferences. We will show you both exact match candidates for your preferences as well as AI expanded candidates. And so there's a few places in Navigator, because this is where Navigator is an AI assistant, not an AI sourcer. So we'll give you a few places where we expand and find similar candidates. Again, learning from every decision you make, all the, shortlisting or moving to a further stage, as well as rejecting. We learn from each decision. And then we're also showing you the exact match candidates, because we know that there's both a precision that recruiters will be looking for, and then also like what happens when you run out of that super precise candidate search. Like, where do you go from there? We help with that. And then where the other place where AI comes in to help out here is via email and personalizing. We use your outreach template, the job description of the role, and the candidate's profile to customize each individual outreach. So it takes care of that personalization for you, because we care about response rates. And like, there's a lot of companies in the sourcing game with a lot more money than us that say that personalization is really the hack to unlocking response rates. But I've done it. My recruiters have done it. I'm sure maybe some of you and your recruiters have done it, where you just need to do your outreach and you don't personalize for every single candidate. And that's where the AI assistant will help you out here. And it actually works. And we're going to show you that live right now. So this is Navigator. So you'll see we're in the exact match tab. We show you all of the candidates that are an exact match for the search that you set up. I'm going to show you that in just 1 second. Similar to LinkedIn Recruiter, you can go through this list. You can say, I'm just going to trust the system. I'm going to trust my search, and I'm going to message every single one of these candidates. You can do that. Or you can go one by one and you say, oh, there's enough information on this card for me to know I want to message this person. Great. I'm just going to send a mail to them. You'll see that AI is going to compose the message right in front of you. And this is based off my base template, which is why it folds in like an FAQ bullet points, because I like doing that in outreach. It pulls up their email and then it's ready to send. And so you can just send it directly to them. If you don't like how it personalized, you can tell it, I'm more comfortable just using my template instead. Or you can say like, let's personalize, and then you can give it a little bit of direction on how you want it to personalize if you don't like a couple of the variations you saw. Now, maybe this mini candidate card isn't enough for you to say, oh, I definitely want to talk to this person. You can actually pop this open and view their full page profile. You can see all the information that they've included about each role, their education, skills, and the summary that they have. And then these little snippets over here on the right that call out reasons to hire and could be better. We've actually heard from both in-house recruiters and agencies. They're using these snippets, these bullet points, as a quick way to copy and paste for a hiring manager when they say, hey, can you take a look at this candidate? Will you review him for me? Is this someone that you would like? Here's what I think. And so they're using like the reasons to hire and could be better for that. Yeah, so that's the exact match tab. How do we ensure email and contact information is correct? Will, good question. So again, this is where we can give you a small peek behind, I think, the backstage curtain here, but we use, I think it's somewhere between 5 and 7 different data providers to look up email addresses. And we'll give you options if there are multiple found For Liana, there's only one, but we'll give you options for which email address you can send it to. And we do it in a waterfall fashion. So we go down our data providers and we look for what appears to be the most credible and highest quality email address so that you can message them there. If you want to just reach out directly, you want to send them a text or call them. I don't know if everyone's doing this, but you can just click find phone number and we're going to look up their phone number directly as well. A lot of teams will rely on Rocket Reach or Zoom Info to do that on top of their ATS. We have those data sources built in. So you're getting that included basically with Navigator. And what I'm not showing you here on this specifically is I said that this is a search and sequencing tool, is you can actually go in and you can configure all of your follow-up messages. So you can say, here's my initial outreach, and I want to do 3 follow-ups spaced 3 days apart for each one. And so we're hitting them multiple times because, like Jem has said, right, they're the big name in the game that you need to send at least 4 outbound messages in order to get your response rate to double. So that's why we have the follow-up sequences there. Steve asked if the sequence you utilize multiple channels for the same candidates. Right now, it's only via email, but we are looking into other options and future builds where we could potentially add in things like texting, prompts to call, prompts to send a LinkedIn InMail. So we are looking at building that in, but we thought that starting with email was the most important. So, but because we have those data sources, we'd potentially be able to build those steps in. So this is for our exact matches. For rest of pool, it's going to behave largely the same, but we're just helping you automatically find and then rank the similar candidates. You can see that rest of pool, in this rest of pool tab, the AI expansion, there's 7,000 candidates here. You don't want to just be reviewing those in kind of a haphazard way. You want to actually have the AI learning from your decisions if you make it over to this tab. So for every person that you pass on, or every person that you move into a short list to contact later, it's actually going to learn from that, build that into the ranking model for candidates for all 7,000 candidates here. And then you can say you want to re-rank that candidate pool. So say you make a decision, make decisions on 20 candidates, then you can have AI re-rank that stack. And so you'll actually see the most relevant candidates pop up to the top. Amir is asking, can LinkedIn turn you off? Amir, did you see Interseller's announcement earlier this year? But the answer is no. LinkedIn can't turn us off because we're not scraping LinkedIn, because that would be a violation of LinkedIn's terms of service. And we want to stay on the right side of the LinkedIn Microsoft law. That's a good question, though.
When you talk about sourcing from LinkedIn, if you're not scraping, how are you able to discuss how that functionality works?
Rohan, do we want to, how deep behind the curtain do we want to go?
The short answer, Amir, is as long as you operate over public profiles and have consent, with candidates, you're fine, right? And we build up our own proprietary database, as Tim mentioned, because we operate as an agency. So candidates are consenting to participate in our products.
Thank you.
Yep.
I assume that makes you GDPR compliant too, then. Or God, am I saying that right? I'm losing it.
You are. Yeah, GDPR compliant. Yep. Perfect. So that's Navigator. So we looked at search and sequencing. And again, this is going to be really similar to what you see now in other places. So you can see, you're plugging in multiple job titles. There's always going to be suggestions that you can add in. But what I think is really slick, specifically because we have this exact match tab, is we actually will help you with a Boolean builder. And so you plug in your job description. That's the very first thing you do when you set up a title or when you set up a project. And we're actually analyzing that job description right now. And then we can click see suggestions and it helps you build this Boolean automatically. If you don't like it, you can rearrange things and you're going to see the candidate pool updates in real time every single time you make an adjustment to this. Or you can say, you know what, I like my Boolean that I built better. We're going to stick with that one. Perfect. Any questions on Navigator? Will said, what do you do to enable adoption? Can you elaborate on that a bit, Will? Do you mean adoption from users?
Yeah, certainly. Mainly for users. So, recruiter adoption, hiring manager adoption, whoever's getting the profiles.
Yeah, yeah. So do you mean specifically for Navigator here?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, are you asking that question? And I'm just trying to dive one layer deeper. Are you asking that question because you pay for a LinkedIn recruiter seat and then never hear from LinkedIn until you're at like 90 days pre-renewal, and then that's the only time you hear from your CSM?
No, it's less about LinkedIn. It's more about recruiters are hardwired these days to just use LinkedIn. So when you
Yeah.
introduce new technology and new tools, how do you get them to actually use them?
Yeah. For sure. So that's actually one of the reasons why Rohan wanted to bring me onto the team, is because I've been a head of talent before, I've been a recruiter before, and I'm like a total data nerd. So I spend every morning, probably my first hour of every day is going through every single project that's currently live in Navigator, looking at the data, looking at the usage, and then figuring out and like looking at the approvals and rejections on candidates that are happening in there to say, great, is this search set up well for this recruiter? They're rejecting a bunch of candidates for the same reason. Oh, it's probably not set up well. Let me send them a message real quick. We connect on Slack with many of our customers. And so it's like, hey, at Recruiter, I saw that your search was set up this way. Are you trying to filter this out? If so, I can make that change for you. And so that's kind of like daily for me. We'll also send out reporting. And so it's very, very proactive because I want to make sure, because for some teams, email outreach and moving away from just strictly LinkedIn outreach is newer. And so it's like, great, like, do you have your follow-ups turned on? Let's take a look at your messaging. Your response rates are a little low. And so our customers for Navigator get like, I don't know, I'd say a fractional recruiting manager or head of talent as well to help co-opt initiatives. And when we kick off with new customers, we'll set what like the measurements of success are. And if they're like, hey, I want my recruiters doing 100 outbound, a new initial outbounds every week using Navigator, I'm like, great. Let's set a cadence for how we're going to report on that and how we're going to hold your recruiters accountable to that. And so, yeah, it's very, very collaborative. And so that's how we enable. And it's like, it's all about how you as the customer define success and then how we can help enable that.
Thank you for that.
For sure. Yeah. I think when it comes to me, it's like I love seeing the data on the projects and how they're performing, but then also like response rates. There's so much we can do from a response rates perspective, and that's like a little peek behind the curtain. That's what I'm pushing our machine learning team to do. It's like, great, how do we learn from recruiters messaging, their response rates, what we're seeing that works really well, what we're seeing that doesn't, and coming up with inline suggestions for how to write better, better outreach, not only from the drafted AI messaging that you'll see show up, but then also when the recruiters are putting in their base templates. It's like, hey, this is a little long. Hey, you don't call this out. Or is this intentional? Like, to make that all just a little bit better. And so we want to use AI to really empower recruiters to be more effective. I think the name of the game in 2024, at least from what I've been reading and hearing, is more juice out of the same lemon than in 2023 and 2022. And so, great, like, how do we as a company help you and your teams be more effective? Cool. Any other questions on Navigator? Oh,
Tim, I have a general question just at a macro. And I mean, so far the demo has been really awesome and it's pretty cool to see HireFly, pretty impressive product. One of the main reasons why we started Syelo Tank was because we saw an emerging trend of startups coming out of specifically the AI trend. And we obviously know it's much more than a trend, right? We know that AI is here to stay and that it's, a next generation product. And the last thing we want to do is become dinosaurs in our own space. I guess when you're thinking about HireFly as a product owner, quote unquote, how do you think about Productfly in comparison to the competition now that's out there? Like, how do you measure success against your competitors? Is it that your AI model is better? Is it that your technology is better? Like, how do you kind of just how would you win that contract against one of your competitors? Like, what would you say HireFly brings to the table that other AI sourcing mechanisms like don't currently offer or don't have or don't do as well as you?
yeah, I think, easily for me, the biggest differentiator is me. No, I'm kidding. I think like, sorry, that was a bad joke.
You've done a killer job today on the sales function, Tim, by the way. I
Thank you.
DM'd Mike telling him that. Anyways.
Thank you. No, I think the way we differentiate is that, we don't mean to like say that our competitors aren't doing certain things, but the way we differentiate, what seems to really resonate with our customers and the contracts that we win, is that we're a full AI-empowered recruiting platform that empowers your team for every step of their recruiting, funnel, aside from doing the interviews for you. We believe that that's where recruiters are best suited to actually do that. So we want to take the low impact stuff off their plates. Like we aren't aware of another competitor that does something like Autopilot, that does the AI automation, that does the outreach for you, and that's going to be as effective at lower cost than an in-house person or an agency. And so, that's where we differentiate, is that it's a full platform and it's an ecosystem that's meant to work together versus kind of, other folks that are in the AI game. It might be one specific product targeting one specific thing, another company that does one specific thing. It's a better together story if you're using all three of our products. You're giving your recruiters ultimately more time back to do what they do best, which is spend time with candidates. It's like beat up their hiring managers and spend time with candidates, nurture the candidates in the funnel. And so that's what we want to empower people to do. And we haven't seen another competitor that's able to do all of that at our price point and truly using AI rather than using maybe a human, like a human to take the place of it. We at Census were a customer of another competitor to HireFly prior to even considering bringing HireFly in. And what I saw from their, outreach, burning our domains, burning our company name, and then ultimately resulting in like a bad candidate experience that came back to our company's name, versus HireFly's approach, which is let's keep the company safe, let's keep the domain. There's no commitment to an interview, and then we'll handle the disposition. So I think there's some really big differentiator there.
Can you show a little bit on the disposition? Sorry, my video's off just because it's more stable, but I'd love to sort of see how you do communicate that from a candidate experience perspective.
Yeah, I can grab some screenshots for that and send it out after, but it's only because they go into a separate category, but I can definitely do that as an action item after. I'll send that in the follow-up if that's okay. All right. So again, the question that everybody asks that will want to know is price. So let's hop back over to here. Pricing for Navigator. This is again Syelo specific. $3.99 per user per month. And this is for the full search and sequencing. Compare that to your cost either monthly for LinkedIn professional services or LinkedIn Recruiter, plus Gem or plus another email sequencing tool. You can do the math yourself, but we think we're on the right side of the curve here. Unlimited projects, unlimited number of candidates that you see. There's no limitation there. 500 email credits, 50 phone look, and again, two-way ATS sync. So you're not going to be shown candidates that you were just interviewing with, and then any candidates that you move into the later stages will be pushed into your ATS. And I think, you can talk to Kyle about this, but I think at 5 seats, we, bring down the amount per month. And just so you're aware, like what I fought for, what I was, arguing with Kyle and Rohan about even as early as 10 minutes before this call, we wanted to make this really compelling. Our rack rate for Navigator is $5.99 per month. So I wanted to have a really compelling offer for Syelo Tank companies, only because I believe in what y'all are doing, and Amir and I have been connected. So yeah, I wanted to make it a compelling offer for you guys. Cool. Last one, and then we'll have a little bit of time left over for questions. Oh, is an ATS on our roadmap from Flow? No, it's not. We have there's a lot of people that are in that space that do a really great job. I'm a big believer in Ashby's ATS, even though I was initially not, and Benji, their CEO, personally got me over the hump. There was a big Lover user before that, but no, an ATS isn't on our roadmap right now. We want to stay specifically in like the AI tools for recruiters and talent team space. But who knows? Things could change. If you look at how the product is set up now, oh, let me get to the right window. From a stages perspective, we're not too far off. We do have some companies that don't have an ATS that will use Navigator, but yeah. I'm seeing here, Steve, languages. So right now we have US English, Canadian English, and Old English for the UK teams. And yeah, that's it for now. It's just English. But we could potentially look if, do something bespoke if that's important for other teams. what I'll say is, we're a small company, we're nimble. If there's something that's very specific to a team, in order to, become a customer, it's like, we must have XYZ, we'll evaluate it. There's not like a, no, we'll get it into, we'll get it into the roadmap in 2 years. That's not how we operate. It's like, if we identify something that's important, we can figure out how to work on it quickly. Cost for ATS integration, 0, it's included. On every single tier. Yeah, we do ATS integration. Yeah. Perfect. Yeah, everything, we don't have like enterprise versus like mid-market and like where we strip out different tier or different features of the product. Everything I'm showing you, that's the tier we offer, and that's what you're getting included as part of the Syelo Tank offer as well. There's no stripping out of features to come down to this price. We just wanted to have something compelling, basically at cost for you guys. So, okay. Last one. This one will be quick. Fast Track. This is the quickest demo. I really like it. So how Fast Track works. You connect Fast Track with your ATS. We pattern match based on ideal candidates and job description. And then we rank the candidates into great fit, borderline fit, and poor fit. And then recruiters or hiring managers can spend their time on the great fit candidates or just immediately introduce them and invite them to interview. They can, make their way through kind of the borderline fit folks and then decide what to do with the poor fit, if that's going to be a rejection or not. But here it is. It looks really similar to Navigator. It's in the same environment. The way you can tell it's Fast Track is because it says it here at the top and it has a star instead of a compass. But basically you'll see for this software engineer project, there are 7 great fit candidates. Here's the same thing here. You can open it up. You can see what they're like. You can say, I want to pass on them. I want to shortlist them. Shortlisting them or approving them moves them directly into the next stage that you define in your ATS. Again, the bidirectional ATS sync is important. And from every single rejection that you make on someone, it's going to learn from that. So it learns from each rejection, and then you can say rescore the candidates. And so again, like, if you're getting hundreds of applications a day, if you have 1,000 applications to get through on a new role, plug it in, open up a Fast Track project for that. We ingest it, we score it, and then we help you get through that quicker. This is the first time I've ever shown this product to anyone ever. So if you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask, because I feel like I'm not going super deep, and then maybe Rohan can chime in. No questions on Fast Track? Yeah, it's kind of the easiest to digest and understand. We absorb your applications through your ATS, we rank them, we help you action on them quicker, and you can do all of that in bulk. So, yeah.
Quick question then, Tim. Just to make it fun for you, don't want you to get bored. Or can you show, or do you have the analytics on how you're ranking them, so we get a good sense of sort of, see, you can sort of do a quick check and a pulse check as to why and how.
So you're saying, like, if you wanted to look at per candidate, why we think they're good, where they match based on ideal candidates and job description? We'll show that in the snippet over here. And so we'll show that on candidates' reasons to hire could be better in the same way. But we don't expose now, I think, kind of the matching that happens and kind of the ingestion of both the candidate and the job description there. That isn't something that we show now.
I'm going there from a sense, just, why I'm asking is, I know you've never had it yourself, but a hiring manager with a laundry list of things, just giving you shit, where they have like a million things, and you can go back to them a little bit and say, this one thing you're including that I think is bullshit, by the way, is excluding 70% of these candidates. And so, and if you could think of it from that lens, that's really going to help. As you know, when I say it that way, you're nodding right away, because that's the conversation we have to have better and more with hiring leaders, because they suck at understanding that not anyone's going to fit their perfect job description or fix 5 jobs with one.
Yep. And so if we go into, that's a great question. It helps show kind of highlight this here. So if we go into like the settings for this project and we go into skills and keywords, and so let's say your hiring manager is saying they must have React and MySQL, you can save that and you can re-rank the candidates. And what's going to happen, and re-ranking takes a couple of minutes, so I don't want to burn too much time, but it'll show actually here if the candidates have those directly on their card. So these must-have skills. And so you can see, even in the great fit candidates, like we're missing must-have skills from great fit candidates. And then in poor fit or borderline fit, it's not going to show that. But I think probably what you'd be looking for is almost like a presentation screen, right? Which is like, here's the job, here's the ideal candidates, here's the must-haves, here's the candidate pool distribution of who matches. So Mr. Hiring Manager, Mrs. Hiring Manager, this is where we're suffering. And even from our inbound candidates, only 1% match your criteria. Is that?
Exactly. I want to give recruiters a stick.
Yeah.
To help hiring leaders become better.
Yeah. Definitely something that we could build. Like from an ingestion, analytics, and visualization point of view, I totally understand the importance there. And it's totally something that we could build if it were important. We don't have it now, though.
No, cool. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Last but not least, pricing. Wrong page again. There we go. So we bill per job slot package. No limit on the number of applications review, but basically, you know, if you want to have 1 to 10 jobs scored, it's $1,000 per month. And it scales from there all the way up to an unlimited plan. So if you have your hiring plans already for the year, and I really hope you do, I know that was always a struggle for me. It's like midway through February, there's January hires planned and no approved hiring plan. But if you have your hiring plan, maybe you can look at the average over the year and figure out, oh, you know, we actually only need maybe 10 to 20 jobs or for scoring, for fast track scoring. But you can figure out this is, you know, just based on your need. And again, qualified startup package here. We basically baked in the qualified startup package into the Navigator pricing, but for fast track and autopilot. Reach out and Kyle can walk you through it. Oh, Devinder says, so most of the resumes don't distinguish their skills as must have or nice to have. Rather, it picks up all the skills. Yeah. So you will define in the project setup the job description, ideal candidates, and then your must have, nice to have skills. And then it'll use that criteria to rank all of the resumes and candidate profiles. And that's how they'll show up in the different stacks. So if someone on their resume has none of your must have skills, they're going to end up in the poor fit column or in the poor fit tab rather than in the great fit because they don't have what you absolutely require. Good question, though. Okay.
Yeah, sorry. Tim, was there something else you wanted to show us?
Just if you're at Transform, we're in the very back corner. We're next to Lattice and the Puppies Lounge. So if you make it there, you can't miss us. Come over. I don't know what the Puppies Lounge is, but we can go pet puppies together and talk about HireFly or just talk about talent in general. But that's where we are. We're in the back corner.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I didn't know there were puppies there. That's going to change things for me. I guess, you know, because this is something that we always like to offer during Syelo Tank, so we'll offer it here as well. I know we only got a couple minutes, but do you have any questions for us?
Yeah, I think questions for you, and like, I don't know, you can throw it in the chat, like thumbs up, thumbs down. Like, what do you think? Like, is this something that you could see like empowering your teams to be more effective, get more juice out of the same lemon, without having to be an empire builder and grow your team to be huge? Tony's saying 100%. Lindsay, okay, hands down. And Will, yeah. Steve, that's exactly my sentiment when I got introduced to autopilot. Was I need a lot more top of funnel. I either need an agency or I need a sourcer. But using autopilot basically allowed us to do that without increasing headcount. And ultimately, like, that was my goal, is to keep the team as lean as possible. Devinder, there's going to be a recording that Amir is going to send out. And if you have any questions, find me on LinkedIn. Reach out. I'm going to drop a scheduling link right now. If anyone wants to talk with Kyle, I'm going to drop that into chat. And then I'm going to get a follow-up email out to everybody as well. And I'm sure Amir will as well. So you can just book it with Kyle. And I think there's a comment space there. If you absolutely don't want to talk to Kyle alone, you can talk to me. Don't talk to me, but you can book, and then Kyle will add me to it. Just put it in the notes. And no, Mike, I'm not a sales guy.
I'll believe it
Okay.
one day. I'll believe it one day. Comes too natural.
I think I just like talking too much.
Passionate about the product.
Bane of every recruiter.
Yeah. Randy, if we wanted to meet, we could do like a deep dive in like the types of roles, and we could look at some of the roles you would want to put on. If I'm assuming that's for autopilot, we could look at some of those roles, and we could look at some of those roles and then like figure out if they'd be a good fit for autopilot. We have some criteria that we'll scrub to make sure that they'll work. Is Pinpoint one of the ATSs that we integrate with? Let me look. It is. Rohan's giving me a thumbs up. Okay. Cool. Awesome.
If not, Rohan's getting it coded in the back right now. I can see that.
He's actively pinging the Pinpoint API.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Well, we can give 5 minutes back.
No, this was awesome, Tim, and congrats on the new role, of course, at HireFly. Rohan, you built a great team, built a great product. We honestly, it's probably one of the better ones we've seen here, without a shadow of a doubt. So super excited. We're gonna get this link shared with the entire community. I think this was an excellent demo and demonstration. So be proud of that, and be proud of this video link going out. Not every founder is always happy when we record these things, but I think in this case, y'all did a great job. It's been awesome.
Yeah.
I will send on over, Tim, any additional, I'm going to create a general post, and I'm going to send out emails today. So any additional information that you would like us internally at Syelo to have to communicate to our community, let us know.
For sure.
We're definitely going to drive a lot more members to watch this. There were a lot of folks that are East Coast or West Coast. Time is always an issue for us, which is why we did it at 2 today. But yeah, the video is gonna be super beneficial. And yeah, thank you guys. This has been awesome.
Of course. Thank you guys for being like participative. I really appreciated that. And the last thing I'll share with you, and Amir, you can include, this pricing, it is exploding. I'm not a salesperson, but the pricing does have an expiration date that Kyle set. So you have to book a demo by Transform, which starts on Monday the 11th. So book a demo by then. You don't have to have the demo executed by then, but book the demo by Monday the 11th. If you're in Transform, we can give the demo to you live, take out to dinner, drinks, blackjack, whatever. And if not, we can have the demo at any time that's convenient for you. But in order to lock in this pricing, which again was basically discounted across the board, specifically for Syelo, just have to lock in that demo by the Sunday the 10th.
Not a salesperson. Love
Not
it.
a salesperson.
Nice
You
one.
sound like a salesperson. No.
Oh God. I spent a lot of time on car dealership lots. So maybe that's it. Maybe I picked up too much of their lingo.
It's a compliment. It's a compliment. I think any great recruiter has to be a good salesperson, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I wanted to make sure that y'all could hear me okay. So I went like full on podcasting mic specifically for this, because I was worried that you wouldn't be able to hear my audio come through well. So awesome, folks. I appreciate the time.
Godspeed. All right, everyone. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
See ya.
Bye-bye.
All right.